it's Amrita Bala from AB Consulting, and I'm so excited to be here today with Stacey Cox. Stacey is the Executive Director for the Turks and Caicos Hotel and Tourism Association. Originally from the Bahamas, Stacey has called TCI home now for a few years. In her role as the Executive Director for the TCHTA, Stacey represents the members in a variety of advocacy, branding, marketing, and people development initiatives to promote TCI, both locally as well as internationally. She's also a strong supporter and advocate for women in tourism and hospitality and has championed the Women in Tourism Caribbean Initiative, which we're going to hear more about today.
It's so great to see you. How are you?
Oh, Amarita, I am good, all things considered. I'm really, really good.
Oh, good. Well, you look fabulous. Listen, the last time I saw you, I was in Turks and Caicos. We were enjoying a glass of rosé at Infinity at Grace Bay Club, staring out into that beautiful sunset. Little did I know that would be my last trip in a really, really, really long time, and my last Caribbean sunset, which I'm missing so much. But listen, it's so great to be here with you, and thank you so much for your time today. We really, really appreciate it.
My absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me. This is a treat, actually.
Well, it's so great because, listen, I'm so happy for Turks and Caicos. You reopened your doors a few weeks ago. I think July 22nd was the date. So, we wanted to touch base with you and see how things were going and, the feedback that you're getting from guests as well as employees going back to work. I mean, there's such an evolution here in terms of, marketing and branding the destination too. So tell us, how is life as you slowly return to normal in TCI?
I think that, when July 22nd came, there was a whole array of just emotions from excitement to nervousness. But I think excitement superseded it all because people were ready to get back to some sense of normal. Although the normal included some level of social distancing, wearing a mask, continuously washing your hands, people needed to feel the vibe of other people in their atmosphere. Most of the guests through either TripAdvisor or one or two that I've met, they're just excited to be in the sunshine, on the beach, and just being able to relax outside of what was or is their norm from wherever they're coming from. Our source market is, as you may or may not know, is the New York area. So most people were experiencing cabin fever. So anything to get out on the best beach in the world, Grace Bay Beach, to relax just a little, that has been really positive from our visitors. Our staff, like I said, have been a tad bit nervous and excited. They're coming back to a new normal as well. And just to see them in their natural habitat, in their work environment, it's creating somewhat of a buzz of on a positive level on the island, and that's that obviously that vibe transcends into everyone else, from the grocery store, the cab drivers, the gas station. So it's exciting and yet still a bit nervous. You see guests walking around wearing their masks and adhering to the protocols established by the Ministry of Health, and it can only get better from this point on as we all begin to get accustomed to the new normal.
Wonderful. I love hearing that. One of the things that really stood out to me when the pandemic started, Stacey, was the work that the TCHTA did in informing the community, through a variety of webinars. And I really loved reading and hearing about the Community Staples mission. And so I wondered if you could tell us a little bit more about this mission and what it entails.
To your point, so when the pandemic, when we were shut down, one of the core things that I wanted to do was to reassure people that we would get through this. At some point, we will get through this, and we will get through this together. So we did a lot of training online training to our members as it relates to your mental wellness, maintaining a routine while you're staying at home. And the audience was just amazing. Then we went to the HR departments, and because they have the responsibility of touching base with so many people. So in anything you do, you want to ensure that your foundation is firm. So the HR departments, we wanted to solidify them. We wanted to affirm them and ensure that their mental wellness was intact as they go out and reach out to their various team members. We pivot a bit into the Staples Bag Initiative, where members of the association was able to sponsor bins of groceries to the team members that were most in need. And that, I mean, we were able to feed over 1,700 families or more in the destination, and that speaks to the unity of the membership of TCHTA and the community as well, because we had people in the community that came on board and assisted with this initiative, and the staff were just so grateful because, you know, people think that, okay, the investment side of it is it's what took a major hit, but you know, you think about the housekeepers and the gardeners and the middle management and the chefs, we all have a stake on it. We were all impacted by some way or the other during this pandemic, but I'm just glad to know that we were able to put basic needs of food in the homes of many persons on the island.
I really love hearing about that. It's great. You know, as you're sort of planning ahead in your role as CEO of the TCHTA, you know, what are going to be some big priorities for you and the group as you know, as the next few months unfold as well, and maybe if we can even take that a step further in terms of how you're either partnering or supporting your Caribbean neighbors. We'd love to hear more about that.
So
too.
one of the things that we're working on right now is, because you don't see the busy season until just about November or so. So we are still in the prep mode of training and affirming our staff to know that it's okay. We just need to adhere to the protocols established by the Ministry of Health. And that for some people is coming really easy, and then for others, it's a difficult transition. So because the physical side of this pandemic is going to be somewhat easy for most, but it's the mental wellness and the mental shift in the way your consumers are behaving when they come to the destination. So that in tandem with the way that we're organizing our staff for, you know, the mentality of the average guest has been a key focus for the team, by extension the members of TCHTA. One thing that we are looking at is now we will be sitting down next week and talking about strategically how are we going to position our destination. So we've taken somewhat of a role of advocacy being the main thrust of TCHTA into now marketing, getting heads in beds, being able to put people to work so that they can feed their families. And so what is the marketing strategy for the destination? With that, the meeting with Ministry of Tourism, the tourist board actually will happen next week, and we have some ideas on where we are and where we want to be. We know that face-to-face is going to be maybe December, maybe January. We don't know for sure, but it's all a conversation right now, because obviously where we at right now is just so fluid and it's hard to pinpoint anything. The team through TCHTA was looking at, or is still have a keen eye on, one of the biggest luxury shows that happen in France on an annual basis. It hasn't been canceled as yet, so that's still on the docket. And it's just a wait and see game, right? And a lot of promotions by individuals' properties, but it's now, what does it look like as we get into the new norm, the marketing of the destination. One thing that is key to Turks and Caicos or what differentiates us actually is the fact that we have so many condo resort. We're not mass tourism, and people can easily space out, whether it's in their condo, whether it's on the beach. And that's been a great selling point for the destination, and now that's going to be magnified even more. As a region, lots of conversations, but as you very well know, things are just so fluid, because we want to come out as a strong Caribbean brand, and not Turks and Caicos, not Jamaica, but we want to showcase that really the world needs the Caribbean. And we want to tout that message, but we just need to align our goals, and that's coming into play very shortly. So we're looking forward to some great messaging coming out of the Caribbean as a collective, whether it's through our CTO or CHTA, but we are all going to be working together to ensure that brand Caribbean is in the forefront of everyone's mind.
I love hearing that. And you're so right. The world definitely needs the Caribbean. I need the Caribbean.
Come on down.
I'm planning on it. I'm planning on it. So one of the causes I know that you are such a great champion of, and are so well respected in the industry, is your mentorship and support for women in tourism. And I really applaud you for that, Stacey. And you've also championed the Women in Tourism You've also championed the Women in Tourism Caribbean Initiative. And I wondered if you could tell us more about this initiative, because it's really one of a kind, and what your plans might be going forward.
So I am super excited, desire to highlight amazing talents in the industry. And it has morphed into such an amazing platform that I'm so proud of. We have almost 11,000 followers on Facebook, and a huge following on Instagram as well. And this year we had planned a Belize initiative and a St. Martin initiative, and then COVID came along. So what we're doing this year is we're going to have a series of monthly virtual events, speaking to some of the ladies that we've showcased, and speaking to the needs of women in leadership and women in tourism on a whole. So it's going to be a mixed bag of conversations where our followers have the opportunity to engage with us on that platform. And I'm just super excited about it. In the midst of the pandemic and just chaos and just busy, a lady texted me and she said, "What are you doing with Women in Tourism?" And I'm just like, it's just so busy. And she's like, "Get up and do something." And so I've made her a part of my team, and I have a team of just 5 amazing people that just, they just mobilize stuff. They're just like little minions just running around doing stuff. And quite honestly, they keep me motivated because it's been extremely busy during this time. And they've taken off some responsibilities of either the posting or initiating features for the Wow Wednesday, and even getting guest speakers for the first event that we're having. So I'm just humbled by their level of support, and I'm just really, really grateful for it.
You're doing such a wonderful job profiling stories of women from sort of all walks, right, and all different levels of positions, from front of house to back of house. So it's really, really great to see that as well.
And what we want to do, and sometimes it's hard to find, is those hidden gems in the industry. Mm-hmm. That lady, that housekeeper who's making your guests comfortable every day and every day in and out. So I am always in search for great stories that persons can send into the team.
Right. And I mean, I would have to say, including yourself, the region has such strong female leadership that what a great opportunity to showcase that as well. For new visitors to TCI or people looking to come back, what are some experiences that you would recommend? You're such a wealth of information. I know we're always talking about restaurants and hotels, and we'd love any recommendations that you have on leisure experiences, dining, anything really.
Well, because physical distancing is like the theme for 2020, I saw someone doing an amazing kayaking trip through the mangroves recently. I thought that was amazing, and it's on my bucket list. I personally did horseback riding a few weeks ago. It was just amazing. Bucket list checked and done. Many sunset cruise. A lot of the activities that we have in Turks and Caicos is centered around the water or fine dining. So if you're a water person, horseback riding in the waters, it's kayaking, it's the amazing sunset tours, anything around the water, or even, you know what, taking the ferry to North Caicos and exploring the caves and seeing the flamingos in their natural habitat. There's so much ecotourism in North Caicos, and when you talk about South Caicos and Grand Turk as well, in the Family Islands, and they're so accessible either by boat or by plane. It's an easy thing to do, and if you want to get away from the norm of Providenciales, I would definitely recommend going to one of the sister islands. But if you're staying in Providenciales, definitely the horseback riding, the sunset cruise, and the kayaking is absolutely some of my favorite or must do or things to do when you're visiting Turks and Caicos. The plantations are becoming the National Trust is doing an amazing job with the ruins there, and people have an opportunity to visit these historical sites, and it's just take a day every day or every other day actually to just look for the hidden gems of Turks and Caicos. I'm a foodie. I am a foodie. I'm definitely a foodie. So there are one of the restaurants recently just launched a full vegan night.
Wow.
So I'm super excited about experiencing that. If you want that authentic island feel, it's either the Boogaloos or the Conch Shack, where you can get your conch fritters and your conch salad. And then, you know what? You can travel on this, it's like a terrain getting to Amaniara for that beautiful sunset and that exquisite meal at Aman. Turks and Caicos is, firstly, people come here for the accommodations, and once they book their accommodations, the next thing they do is book their dining, because every dining is an experience. And it's hard to say one over the other because I enjoy them all for what they present. Not recently, but before the lockdown, I went over to the Shore Club, and the sushi there is just amazing.
So good. Yeah.
So it depends on what you want, but I'm hardly ever disappointed with the dining experiences here. 7 Stars just opened up a private room for dining, and it's the chef's table, and Chef Edwin is amazing. So, I mean, whatever he creates, just say yes, sir.
Life gets back to normal. We always really like to ask our guests, I think many of us in lockdown, relived travel memories or started thinking about places that maybe, we'd like to explore once we can and when it's safe to do so. So tell us, what places are on your list?
That's a good question, Amrita. So before the lockdown, some girlfriends and I were talking about trekking through the Caribbean. Because I am a Caribbean girl. I mean, hands down. I love the sun. I love the beach. I love water sports. I love the Caribbean people. I love the culture. So we were talking about heading into Anguilla, getting into St. Martin, going to St. Lucia, Barbados, and then into Antigua, and then flying back here.
Wonderful. Wow. So
that's still on the docket. And I am looking forward to it. It's about 6 of us still talking about it. We've sort of mapped it out, sort of. And so it's still lying there. And I'm just super excited to be able to go through some of those islands, because there's so many. I mean, we're the same when we talk about Caribbean. And someone just said in a conference recently, they said, how do you say Caribbean? Do you say Caribbean, Caribbean? How do you pronounce it? So it doesn't matter how you pronounce it, we're all the same, fundamentally. So it's just little things that make us different. And I want to see what that looks like from Anguilla to St. Martin, St. Lucia, Barbados, Antigua. And a friend said to me, I have to add Grenada on that. And some of them I've been to for work experience or something or the other, but I want to, I want more of an experience in those islands.
Oh, that sounds so wonderful. Well, I'm sure that you'll get to experience that soon. And, you know, each of the islands you describe is so unique in its topography. I haven't been to all of them, but some of the ones you've mentioned. So I love that. And on that note about, you know, one family as well, Stacey, it's always such a pleasure to speak with you. And thank you so much for your time. I'm so thrilled that, you know, TCI's doors are open. And of course, we wish you all well. And I can't wait to return soon. And thank you for everything that you're doing to, you know, also support women in tourism in the region as well. So as always, it's such a pleasure to chat with you, and I can't wait to see you in person soon.
Absolutely, Amarita. Thank you so much for having me. It was really a pleasure to be able to share what we're doing here in Turks and Caicos and also speak about my hobby of Women in Tourism Caribbean. So I look forward to people following us on Instagram and Facebook and being a part of the conversation. But thank you so much for having me, Amarita.